Throw in the power.
This intro is good music, isn't it? It's better than Stephen Schwartz.
I don't have my headphones.
Oh,
What do you need?
it's all right. I'll do the intro. We'll be fine.
Throw in the power.
Greetings, pals.
Greetings, pals.
Greetings, pals.
Welcome to Short and Sweet Best. Oh, what is it?
On-screen death.
No.
No, we've
Last week.
done that one previously.
Best?
Crying.
Best cry.
Hey.
Best and worst.
Yeah, but hopefully mostly best. We want to try and focus on the
We
positives.
try to do the positive ratio these
that's
days.
Best
That's my
crying.
nature. Okay.
Okay.
But the bad ones are funny too.
This is a short and sweet. This is
All
throwing
right.
the power. Best crying. Is that it? Are we
Yeah.
sure?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so.
We'll check
No,
the
it
list.
is. No, it is.
Who would like to kick us off? Who's a good crier?
Oh, I normally do, but if you guys want to.
Saoirse.
Ser-
In anything. Anything like
Saoirse Ronan?
my three big ones. No, the other Saoirse. Like, no,
For the listener.
Saoirse,
Oh.
Yeah,
Saoirse
please.
Ronan.
Don't assume
I
that everyone knows.
apologize. I shouldn't have assumed. There is. I was going to try and match Saoirse with assume there. Kind of abandoned it halfway through.
Assume-sha.
In Brooklyn, in Little Women, in Lady Bird. Like when she cries, I cry. I cannot avoid.
That can
All
be
right.
said for you and anybody, though.
yes,
This
but
is
she's
very
the
broad.
biggest
Hold on.
one-to-one.
Hold
Yeah.
on, Tom.
Yeah.
We're looking for a specific moment.
Okay, in Little Women, when she's saying that she thought she could live the rest of her life just without someone, but she didn't think she needed love, but she's just so lonely. But in Brooklyn, it's when she finds out that her mother's died back over in, or is it her sister? Can't remember. That movie's not great, but someone dies back over in Ireland and she gets the phone call and it's devastating, right? And in Lady Bird, she's always kind of like adolescent on the edge of tears in that movie, but she does cry even at the beginning with her mum in the car when they're driving, they're listening to The Grapes of Wrath. Every time she cries, every time she like has that wobbly little chin thing.
Yep.
You know, Florence Pugh's close.
The
she does it as
Tobey
well.
Maguire wobbly chin.
Yes, absolutely. Patent pending. Yeah. It's
Save it.
He's
yeah. Saoirse's who I think of when I think of someone who's crying gets to me and sort of just like immediately triggers some. I'm an empath, you know.
I would
so
say-
I see that emotion.
I would say the same for Andrew Garfield as an actor, that when I see him cry, I go, that's good crying. Just generally speaking.
He does in Silence. Have you seen Silence?
No, that's the Scorsese.
Yes. He has
No, I
a
haven't
moment
seen
in that. You've seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
No.
he has a line in that where
He has a line in
I
it, but
won't
it's a
give to just one line.
Silence.
Where he's, yeah, I know, he really breaks the rules. He doesn't give a fuck. He has one line in that movie that people who've seen it will know when someone asking what they should do if they're being asked to step on the object of Jesus, because you can't do that if you're a Christian in this time. It's like it's seen as sacrilegious. And they're like, if it's our deaths or trampling, what should we do? And it's a close-up on Andrew Garfield and a single tear like drops and he just goes, trample. And I like burst into tears every time he does it. Like he's so good in that.
This is what I'm looking for out of this. I want to know
Yeah.
a moment where, I mean, look, all good actors within their rights can turn it on,
Yeah.
right? But I want to know at what point you said Andrew Garfield, Frank.
Mhm.
Why?
Just like his face when he cries.
Okay, but
That's not one I brought. I just was off the back of
okay.
Tom's comment. I just wanted to
Sure.
say that he's very good at
Well,
crying.
okay, what's
feel
yours?
that.
Have you got one?
Oh God.
On the
Yeah.
spot.
It's Tom Hanks,
In.
Forrest Gump.
Oh,
He does a
moment?
very good job in that.
I think for me, I feel like he doesn't cry in Is He Smart or Is He Like Me? I don't think he's actually crying there. So it's
Almost.
the
the grave.
grave.
He's so smart,
Man.
Jenny. Yeah.
You'd be so proud.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's heartbreaking. I think
But
people-
I did just watch the end scene of Captain Phillips.
which
where-
I've never seen.
That is
neither have
that's my number 2 choice.
Have you seen the film?
Yeah.
Because I Googled it and it was like
Oh,
Tom
you
Hanks.
haven't seen the
No,
film?
and I just saw the scene and I was
Oh.
like, this is ridiculous that he.
You
like,
both haven't seen that movie.
I saw the start
I've
of
seen
it
the memes.
years ago and I did
Oh,
fall
okay.
asleep, sadly.
oh,
It's not
I've
not
heard it's
great. It's a
okay.
good watch, but the thing is the payoff
yeah.
is that scene
Yeah.
because you go through the traumatic events that he goes through, and his composure is incredible in that film.
And have you
as in
heard
the
him talk
character's
about it?
composure. Sorry,
Have you heard him talk about it? Because they're filming it all live, and it's all this like there's 3 cameras roaming around, and when they're getting actually the under siege, essentially, they didn't know who these actors were. They'd barely met them, and they're coming
Yeah.
on the scene with these giant guns, and they're
Be
not speaking
terrifying.
English, and they're just shouting at them. And he was like, it was truly one of the most harrowing experiences of my life. I'm like,
I believe that.
yeah, I mean, you're acting, but good for you. You
Yeah,
believe it.
No, living in the moment. Anyway, the payoff is you see Tom Hanks at the end of the film,
Mm.
who's been rescued finally, and he's sitting there in the medic bay on the ship, and they're going over him and doing a check and making sure he's all good, and then all of that composure just washes away, and he just lets it out. Like he finally starts shaking and crying, and he just can't comprehend being alive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
Amazing.
It's making me well up talking about it now.
We should watch it.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess we should watch it.
that's my number 2. My
Okay.
number 1 is Emma Thompson in Love Actually.
Okay.
To me, Emma Thompson, like, look,
And
the film itself we'll talk about at some point, but Emma Thompson in that scene when she's
gets-
expecting the Christmas gift from Alan Rickman, and then it's not the gift she thought it was. It's a Tony Mitchell CD.
Joni Mitchell.
Did I say Tony Mitchell?
it's a Tobey Maguire chin.
It's a
her
Weird
brother.
Al
It's her brother.
Yankovic CD.
He's not
brother.
as good.
No, Joni Mitchell. And she just has a quiet cry in the bedroom away from
And
the
the-
family. And
So beautiful. And the folklore around this is that they filmed it, 10, 11 times.
Mm.
And every time she cried like that.
It's the mark,
like
every
just
time.
always
turn
bang
it
on.
off. Go. Oh, we're going for another take. She's like, oh, cool. And
There's something cool
Roll.
about that to be like,
yeah, that's
Like,
a skill. It's a real.
I spent,
talent.
I did a day on a TV show, it doesn't matter, but the actor was coming in to do this scene where he sees his friend get shot or killed by me. And they were like, everyone stay back. He's been in his trailer preparing. He's got to really get in the moment for this scene. And they shot it like twice and he was like not talking to anyone. And it's like, dude, relax. Like you're just going, all you're doing is going,
Yeah.
Look, it's like, do you really need to prep that much?
But here's the thing. I mean, I guess some actors just right. I guess that it's silly.
We can't
to
all
think-
be Emma Thompson.
You can't. Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
assume that everyone just has worked out the ability to turn it on. Everyone has
Yeah.
their process.
True.
It's nicer to know that some actors can just do it.
It's. I think that's the level that you go, like Meryl Streep, Sophie's
It's far
Choice,
more
or something
impressive.
like where you go, that level of belief and
Mm.
distraught emotion that just comes out, and you're like, how are
Because-
you getting there?
Yeah, and you see an actor like the one you were just talking about, you sort of go, well, their process is a bit pretentious,
and
It's
they're
a bit
also
wanky, it's a
not
bit-
anywhere near the mark.
No.
Like they're like it's emotional, but
they're doing 3 times the work and not even getting the same result.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get where you're coming
But
from.
Tom, you're okay. Like you'll get there.
I appreciate that. I've been
Just wanted to
silently
bring you in.
crying this
Just wanted to
entire
bring you
time.
I've got 2 more. I'm just going to throw them out here real quick.
All right.
I've got Anthony Hopkins in The Father.
Oh, not
don't-
seen.
oh
That's
my
where he has
gosh.
Alzheimer's.
Have you seen it, Tom?
Yeah, I'd
Yep.
forgotten.
Yep.
Oh,
Am I right?
That upset me so much.
He-
It's really upsetting.
It's a really upsetting scene.
I just wasn't prepared for you to bring that movie up, which
No.
I haven't thought about in a long time.
Anthony
It's-
Hopkins with dementia.
wins an
Um,
Oscar.
Yeah. Crying for his mummy. You know, he's having a real just a moment. I don't know how else to describe it.
It's
like a
it's the most
relapse or a
vulnerable
breakdown.
thing you could have. Yeah,
Yeah.
where it truly
so
feels like
exposed. It's
an
unreal.
elderly man who's so confused and
Mm.
so unmoored from time and reality that
Mm.
all he wants is the comfort that he can still recall from his childhood, and he knows that it's not coming, and
No,
he
I
asks
want
for
my
his,
mummy.
he wants his mum, and it's very
No,
very upsetting.
I want my mummy.
I want my mummy. I want my mummy, and hearing him say that over and over again was
this is
heartbreaking.
not a fun episode.
No, it was a bit of a bummer,
this is
isn't it?
not a fun time.
Okay,
but incredible. Like you have to see it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah,
Um,
And then wait.
Go
No,
on.
last one. I promise. I'll stop.
that's all right.
Daniel Kaluuya?
In Get Out, the single tear
The single
during
tear.
the
It's
sunken
just
place.
really impressive.
Very impressive.
It's the technical
moment.
one of that because that's
Yeah.
and his face isn't crying. You know
No.
what I mean? He's just
It's like
panicked
Anthony-
or he's
effortless.
hypnotized.
Anthony Mackie in the Hurt Locker sort of thing.
Yeah,
where
it
just the tears
just the
come
tears
without
come out,
him
the
actually.
mechanics of it, but there's
Yes.
no, he's not playing the emotion.
That's a good one. So Uma Thurman in Kill Bill Volume 2. Twice in that movie, she has beautiful moment where she first realizes
Frank, you haven't seen it.
it's
so
like
don't
wild.
that.
He got up on his chair and aimed at the mic. Kind of impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, when she realizes that BB is still alive when she
Yes,
comes around the
BB.
corner, and
Great
she's
name.
like
You
immediately
gotta get emotional for that.
gets emotional
Great
about
writing,
it.
Tarantino.
Who's poo-pooing on things now, Frank?
Started just before
Just
this
have a good
episode.
time.
Frank's like, I'm going to have fun and I'm going to be nice.
I am
this
having
episode.
fun. I don't
Okay,
think- I don't
they
think I
can
said-
both. They have to both happen. husband.
I apologize, Tom.
And then she cries at the end when her and BB escape, and she's in the bathroom, and she's like, "Thank you that I get this back." Jim Carrey turning around in the Truman Show when he gets to the end of the world, and he's in the boat,
Oh, God,
and you
he's-
see
Wait.
him banging his fist against the edge of the world, and then he turns around, and his face is just a rictus of pain and agony.
Wait, at the end of the film or when's that?
It's where he's like gotten on the boat and there's been the whole
The
storm
storm?
that Ed Harris has sent, and
I was
he's
like,
made
no,
his
wait.
way to the end, but it's just a wall, and he's trying to find a way out and he can't, and you see him banging his fist, and it's like 20 seconds, and then he turns around and he's just like the most broken man you've ever seen, and it just immediately makes me burst into tears every time I see it.
Yeah.
He's so good in that. I guess I'd also throw in, just because we're talking like with Tony Mitchell earlier, with the Emma Thompson.
Okay. All right.
In Love Actually, the song that's playing is Both Sides Now, the Joni Mitchell song that is from Coda, right?
Oh yeah.
And when she sings to her dad in
Oh,
Coda,
yes,
Troy,
yes.
Oh, I can't remember his name now, sadly. But
Yeah, it was probably in the subtitles. I don't know.
this actor's name is. But yes, when she's
your
singing,
consideration.
when she's singing to her father, and he puts his hands on her throat and
Ah.
starts crying. That's a very emotional scene. Some beautiful crying
Good
out there. Last one,
choices.
she will tell Edgy 4 in 12 Years a Slave, right at the end, where
Oh.
he sees his family again for the laugh and says, "I'm so sorry, I've been gone for so long," and that's very heartbreaking as well.
Oh, what's the movie that? Oh,
Viola
I'm
Davis
Yes.
Fences.
Opposite. Yeah, opposite.
Opposite
With
Denzel.
Denzel?
Yes.
Yeah, Fences.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
Fences. She
Oh,
won for that.
I haven't
didn't
seen
she?
the film, but I've just seen that scene.
18 years I worked in the state together at the same place as you.
And
It's
she's like, she's one big slobbery, snotty mess.
the
and it
snot
is-
comes first.
Yeah.
She starts crying. The snot just
And it
starts
is-
running out of her nose.
but it is-
Again, the mechanical nature of it. There's so many
Oh.
people who are crying who just hold their eyes open and get watery and hope for tears to come. Whereas some people, like, the emotion just pours out of them.
Man,
And
what
it's
a
like you can't stop
scene.
the bodily fluid. Something awesome about it.
You can't stop the bodily fluid.
Have you, Frank? Have you got any good ones to add?
I was going to say Paraji T.
Taraji P. Tony Mitchell,
Tony
Paraji T. Henson.
T. Henson. I know the movie's not great, but Hidden Figures, the monologue where she gives about the coloured bathroom and the walk she has to take, it's just passion.
I think it works.
Oh,
I think she's
comes
very
out.
good in that
and
scene.
it builds and it builds and it comes out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do we have ones that we don't like?
Oh,
What
I'm
have we
ready
got?
for my poo-poo
Marcus
ones.
has got his poo-poos.
I've got a big list,
All right.
actually, so I'll go
Go on.
Speed round.
quick.
Go.
All right, speed round. Toni Collette in anything, but
What?
She's an ugly crier. She's a.
There's a
power-
difference between
No.
being an ugly crier and a bad. Like, we just put Claire Danes'
I know,
names
I
up in
know.
light.
It's tough because.
Oh.
Oh, okay, I'll say
One more good one.
specifically Toni Collette in Muriel's Wedding. Now, I think it's meant to be intentionally
Yes,
bad.
it is. It's a bad
But it's-
movie, but she's funny in it.
But she's a very good actress, and she kind of makes up for it. with
Everyone
just
says Toni Collette
raw
in
talent, right?
Hereditary, apparently.
She does a lot in that, but it's
Sixth
great.
Sense.
Yeah.
Sixth Sense, when she cries when he's telling her the story about how he talks to grandma, it's heartbreaking. She's beautiful in that scene.
One, I want to go back to good. Leo, Romeo and Juliet, I Defy You Stars.
Oh, yeah.
When he's
And then-
screaming in the desert.
That's funny
Wow.
because Claire Danes apparently is famously bad.
Definitively ugly cry, like the ugliest cry there is. I think it works,
When?
but she just kind of in Romeo and Juliet and Homelander,
Post
like just
Post,
her face
Poison.
becomes post poison.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
In Romeo and
Where
Juliet.
he's taking
Oh,
the
yeah.
poison and she sits up.
Yeah.
In Homelander, her face crumples into, I can't even explain it. Like she's trying to become a Halloween mask. It's so
Like a-
upsetting every time. But
like a
it
shrunken apple.
yes.
Yeah. She's
But
just
one
bitten
that doesn't want you to see it.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's
look
very,
at me.
yeah,
you
it's
know?
very strange.
There's so much going on there. Anyway,
Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man.
yeah.
Yeah, consistently.
Uncle Ben dies. That's a really bad
The,
one.
no, the Uncle Ben one's okay. It's Spider-Man 3 when James Franco dies. Oh no. And and he does the chin wobbly one.
Yeah.
In Uncle Ben dying, he actually feels it. Actually, Andrew Garfield's really good when Uncle Ben dies. That's a good moment. Oh yeah.
That is a good one.
But when James Franco dies in Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire just goes
I'd forgotten.
and nothing happens in his eyes.
I'd
Nothing
forgotten that
happens. But he
James
goes,
Franco dies in that third one. I think I've only seen it once.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Wait, Willem Dafoe in
Um,
Platoon
As bad?
as best death. We're talking about that still?
No,
It's also not.
Toby Maguire in Spider-Man 3 for best dancing. We're still
Oh
talking
my
about
God.
that. are we?
Yeah.
I've got
Yes.
Shelley Duvall in The Shining. Just when she's being chased by Jack through the hotel, she's comical. It is.
Yes, but I think that's. I think her performance is so easy to satirize, and like a lot of horror movies of that era, But she is. I think if you're locked in, what she's going through in that film is horrifying. I don't disagree. In a vacuum, you watch one scene and you're like, she's doing a lot.
I was locked in, and it is notably the moment that took me out of the film.
Interesting.
First time watch.
Okay.
Actually love.
I'm just horrified the whole time that like she's being chased. But
yeah, I get you. Quick fire, you did say Mel Gibson in Signs. There's a scene at the dinner table.
At the dinner table, they're trying to hold back tears. Yeah. And
it's really, I can't even remember that.
Eat the mashed potato. We're eating mashed potato. It's some I don't know.
Is that what? Because Joaquin's they're all wearing the foil
The
caps
tinfoil
now.
hats.
Yeah.
How is that movie serious? Yet the scariest moment when that alien walks across screen.
Vamonos, children. Rapido, or whatever he says when he's watching.
And then there's a scene in Vampire's Kiss with Nicolas Cage. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a scene where he walks through. He wailing.
Oh, yeah.
He's in every list.
It's too
He's
long.
in every list. He's always there.
Best dancer. Best kiss.
They're my poo-poos.
I should watch Vampire's Kiss. I think that
It's very funny.
I think this scene works for me, but when people point to it as a reach and someone clearly going out of their depth, I get it, is Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting. And I still, that scene
interesting.
works for me. But if someone watched it and went, come on, I'd be like, I know what you mean. It is, you can, unless you really, really give yourself over to that moment, it's so easy to see that as an actorly, histrionic, I need to make this moment count. It works for me. But I get why people
We haven't
would
talked
say-
about Zac Efron and everything.
In Charlie St. Cloud, for example. I want to talk about Matt Damon.
Yeah.
I just watched it like last week. That moment is killer.
It
He's
is.
fantastic.
Yeah.
He just breaks down in Robin Williams' arm. And it's like his first film, basically. They've done like a couple of,
So
that's incredible.
Do you agree with Tom or not?
No, I don't think anyone even thinks it's
I
reaching.
don't.
I think that scene cops a lot of shit.
Cops a lot of shit, yeah, but because
I do think it works, but I know I'm kind of going on the level of like,
it works so well.
if someone is really going like, you can see the work going into that scene so hard, and it's
I
only
disagree.
if you.
I think you can see. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well, if you did it in drama class, you would see it.
Yeah.
It's not your fault, and you're like, yeah, work me up. Yeah, it's not. It's not your fault. You're like, you're trying to work yourself up to cry, but then because he unleashes it so beautifully, I think it lands. Because if he went, okay,
So you think
and just did nothing to like one
It's
tear,
tiptoeing a very fine line.
I think
but
so, and I think
and it cascades.
just
and it works.
if you are going to meet that performance and go, I see exactly how much you put into this, and I commend it. Versus, buddy, like a little much. And I sometimes back in the day watched the movie, and that was my reaction. And I've watched it a few times recently. I'm like, I think it's great. It's a great performance. It's a lot, but it's a great performance.
It's such a broad category that like there's thousands of moments in thousands of films. I'm sure that we're forgetting a bunch. So
Tommy Wiseau in The Room. Why, Lisa? Why? You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
I just don't think that that's
Good impression.
allowed to qualify for any of our categories. I just think that The Room,
Yeah. Of course, it's a joke. Terrible.
you just can't.
I don't even see it as a
include
cult classic.
It's
I
too
don't
easy.
think it's.
I've been so tempted to bring that movie onto the pod so many times. And
We're
I think I'm
not-
going to
we're
hold it until my birthday.
Ah,
So, yeah, next year.
yeah.
Anyway, any other cries?
Cry for
the
help.
town crier's here. Ah!
Time to wrap up.
Stuffed puddings at the local train station.
What?
What, town crier? What are you saying, you drunken fool?
Man,
It's 2024.
What day is it? Why, today it's Christmas Day. No, it's November 25th, town crier. What are you? I'm sorry about this, everyone. Town
You're
crier.
not sorry.
Throw in the pound.
Thank you for putting up with Tom's shit. Language.
That was horrible.
That was Best Cries, short and sweet, throwing the power. My name's Frank.
My name is Marcus.
My name's Tom.
Send it to an Instagram or an email, throwing the pal on both of those things, throwing the pal at Gmail. Or
Yeah. Tell
just,
us yours. Just tell us yours.
Just show us you crying.
Yeah.
That'd
do
be
it.
fun.
Only
Dare
good
you.
ones.
Throw in the pound.
No.